Y'all, this is going to be another reading, technically. So I felt inspired to do um, a reading, rather, to address these insecurities that most, if not all securities, but most of them, these insecurities, how they affect those within their divine connections, whether that be you are already in a divine counter partnership or you are just now coming to an awareness of one, dealing with one off and on, whatever the situation may be, or you have not yet met a divine counterpart, but you're still seeking that, you're in that energy, you have knowledge and wisdom of what it is, and that's something that is meant for you. Wherever you fall, whatever category you fall in with this divine counterpart energy, these are usually the insecurities that affect, if not block, the connections in some way. So I picked up 7 insecurities, 7 of them, and it's funny because it reminds me of the 7 deadly sins. Like, not literal, like the insecurities I picked up, but the 7. So these would be, first off, let's get into what insecurities are, just to be clear. Um, what insecurities represent, because I'm not coming on here to bash anybody. This is to help, because if you're not dealing with all insecurities, you're at least dealing with one. It's human nature to have insecurities and have doubts within yourself. It could just be simply knowing something but you still question it. Like, that's a form of insecurity, by saying, yeah, I feel this connection, and but I'm just not sure, or you're questioning it, or you're saying things to doubt it, whether it's true or not. It's still a form of, when you're in a form of self-doubt and uncertainty, that is a insecurity. So what is an insecurity? According to the New Oxford American Dictionaries, I always research everything, because it's one thing for your knowledge to know what a word means, but to actually like see it and how it's defined, um, it kind of gives it more clarity, if that makes sense. So, insecurity, an uncertainty or anxiety about oneself, lack of confidence, state of being. This thing is so crazy. So I don't know. It just cut me off. It's weird. Anyway, being in danger or threat, lack of protection. So that's what insecurity. The definition of insecurity is. So the first insecurity that I picked up was, am I crazy? So this feeling of, am I crazy? That's the biggest insecurity, is I'm feeling something, I'm experiencing something, but it's not what I'm used to, so I'm doubting it. I'm calling myself crazy. Um, Thinking like, maybe other people will think I'm crazy. The person that I feel like I'm connecting with, they're going to think I'm crazy, or they are thinking I'm crazy. It's like, that's one of the biggest insecurities. Instead of validating yourself and saying, it is what it is. I'm feeling what I'm feeling. This is a feeling that I'm having. This is an insecurity. Um, or not an insecurity. This is a um, experience that I'm having. It's personal to me. It's what I'm experiencing. And I don't need anybody else to validate it. I'm not going to push it or force it. But I validate my own feelings and my own experience. So by you saying I'm crazy, is you, in essence, not validating yourself. It's you rejecting yourself, or rejecting what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, what you're thinking, maybe what you're questioning within yourself. Or it's like your experience, you're questioning it, you're doubting it, you're not validating it, you're not validating yourself. Um, because it's like, it's a pressure to the ego, because the ego wants to stay conformed and comfortable. Some connections are here to transform us, and I feel there's an essence or a part of us that sometimes doesn't want to have to go through certain situations because we know deep down within ourselves it's going to require us to change. It's going to require us to shift. It's going to maybe not be everything that we expected, but ultimately it's a connection where God says yes to it because there's something in it that you need, whether that's lifelong or whether that's for the time, whether that's just for a moment. Um, yeah, because it's like we're all connected to the divine. We're all one in essence. So whether this person comes in seemingly as a good person or seemingly as a bad person or whatever their agenda is, ultimately it's all divinely aligned and it's here for you as a reflection of you, the things that maybe you need to embrace more of, the things that maybe you need to heal, that you need to release. So why telling yourself, am I crazy, when you're experiencing something is an insecurity is because it's a form of you denying yourself and potentially wanting other people to validate you that no, you're not crazy. I'm going to go to this reader, I'm going to go to that reader, and I'm going to ask this person or that person, or I just need something to tell me that I'm not crazy. That's you not believing or trusting in yourself. But there's nothing wrong with fact checking. There's nothing wrong with that. Second opinions are not bad. But there is a time where you have to fully trust you, trust yourself. The second insecurity is, are they interested in me? Like wondering how, how they feel, or is this person interested in me back? So when you have a connection with people, whether it's romantic, whether it's platonic connections, um, we always want to know whether our our gestures, our motives, the connection itself is reciprocated, right? Whether that's a friendship, whether that's a business deal, whether that's a love relationship, we always want to know if it's reciprocated, and that's important, of course. Um, a part of that again is knowing if this person is interested in you or not. Is that going to stop you from validating the fact that you're interested in this person? Whether it be that this person ends up not being interested in you, and what good does it do to always question whether or not somebody is interested? I feel the desire to seek and to know whether or not you're wasting your energy and time on someone that may not be reciprocating. But in order to validate yourself or validate something, you need to know whether someone's feeling you back. How do they feel about me? It conjures that up a lot. I feel like it's something that's for some of you that is like a trigger. It triggers this feeling of maybe a past decision that you feel like you're still grieving over that decision. You're still beating yourself up about a decision you made with someone because maybe you did fully go wholeheartedly into something with someone that was not reciprocating the energy, whether that was a friendship, whether that was, other relationships close to you or a romantic one, whatever. You feel like you did something wrong. So that insecurity and that fear is coming up again. I feel like it's the constant needing to know. It's constant. It's not like a question like, okay, I just want to know, are they good with me? Like, I'm not really sure. Um, you know, I feel like they are, or we interact, we talk, but, I'm just not sure within our interaction. It's kind of, confusing, or whatever it is you might want to know, or maybe you guys got into it, or the person that suddenly just stopped talking to you. So, of course, that desire to know how someone feels is going to be there. But constantly needing to know, um, that's an insecurity within itself. Like, you don't doubt. So whether this person was like, we're cool, I care about you, or maybe you got a reading and it told you something, but you're still seeking and seeking to know constantly. Or this person has already told you, like, I'm not feeling you. um some people are stubborn. They need to hear it. twice, they need to hear it a third time, they need this person to dog them out in order for them to get it, and sometimes people don't even get it after that point. So sometimes it's a little bit of stubbornness too. And insecurity can also be not really feeling good about your own self, that you'll settle for something that someone is not reciprocating back to you. And that's another thing that needs to be addressed and healed. Um, and that's what creates a lot of unrequited love situations in these connections, wanting to make something bigger than what it is, or deeper than what it is, or prolonged um, something, probably not prolonged, but like elongate, I guess. I don't know if I'm saying that right. These are the words that are coming to me. That sound crazy. Um, just keep something like ongoing. It's an ongoing, like you want to keep this energy going when it's not meant to last longer than what it is. So, trying to keep it going, and that's a form of insecurity as well, because you essentially feel like that's all you deserve. You're settling for that type of treatment from someone that's not reciprocating feelings with you. Um, the third insecurity is, am I wasting my time? Okay, the insecurity of wasting your time, that could, I feel like how this translates as an insecurity is when you're not fully making a decision, like putting your whole heart into something because of that fear that you're not going to get what you put in. And therefore, again, it's a form of you um, not giving yourself the validation of what you feel and what you desire. It's like, yeah, I might have feelings and I might want to move forward, but what if I'm wrong? And so that forms that insecurity, that what if, that need to know what the outcome is going to be, which forms some self-doubt. So that's a form of insecurity. And I feel like it's also wanting the person to validate your worth too. Like, I need to know for sure from this person whether or not they feel it's worthy to invest in me. So therefore, I can make that decision, like, okay, because they feel that way, then now I can fully invest. But also, it's an insecurity because there's a fear that the past is going to repeat itself. Because maybe for some of you, you had this energy of being in, you were, illusion. It was like you're in an illusion of something within a connection, and you kind of played into something that left you in a very bad place. So therefore, it's hard for you to make that individual decision whether or not you wish to invest in a person or a situation or anything that you wish to invest in, because whatever had happened, or maybe multiple situations where you put your energy into something only to feel like you've lost rather than you gained. So it's that self-doubt of repeating that same cycle again rather than trusting your own self. Even if the outcome may be that it's not what you thought it was going to be or expected it to be, or what you um, would have hoped it to be, you trusted yourself and you went along with it, because who's to say that it didn't lead you to a place where you needed to be? It didn't teach you something that you were meant to learn, or you were meant to teach someone something they were meant to learn. Who's to say that this experience was not beneficial in some way? Which I highly doubt that any experience that we go into is never helpful. It's not true. There's always something to take out of every experience and situation and connection, platonic or non-platonic. Okay, so the fourth insecurity is, what is this connection? Needing to put a label on something is also another form of insecurity, because again, you need to validate its worth and your worth and this other person's worth. So it's like, I need something to tell me that this is that. And labels such as, like, it's almost like calling people stoners. Like, oh, I'm a stoner. The next person is a pothead. The next person, like, you're trying to label something that is kind of like man-made. It's kind of like a nickname for something, a nickname to an energy, basically. Putting a name to an energy. So we have these different ideologies and beliefs when it comes to certain connections: karmic, soulmate, twin flame, twin soul, divine counterpart, divine complement, We always need to label things. And I feel these man-made labels cause a lot of codependent behaviors upon something and someone, because it's like, if you can tell me that I'm a straight A student, then that means I'm intelligent, I'm smarter than the average person, or I have this IQ, so that makes me a genius, right? So you need something to validate the importance and the relevance of something, or the lack of importance of something or connection, in order for it to validate you and how you feel and how you should feel. Um, Connections don't need labels. They are what they are. And every connection has, quote unquote, some form of karma. And karma is not just a one-sided energy. It's different levels of karma and aspects. It's not just, oh, good or bad, or you did something, so it could be a contract, and it doesn't have to be a negative contract. In our eyes, what we call negative, it doesn't have to be heavy energy. A soulmate connection is simply someone that mates with your soul, that resonates with your soul. It's a soul connection. It is what it is. But we have so many different titles, and some people might look at soulmates as something less than in comparison to a twin flame, and some people see twin flames as something that is necessary, but not something romantic, right? For some people it is romantic. Some people see soulmates better than twin flame energies. There's just these labels and these titles. I feel you have to form your own awareness and conclusion in your own experiences. You have to, only you can validate what you're experiencing. And again, I have to be careful when I say that, because this is not telling you to like force someone to be with you or try to convince someone that they're this or they're that for you. But by owning up to what you feel rather than stuffing it down or doubting it, because that will cause obsession to constantly need to know, constantly need to figure out, think about something over and over. But when you tap into what you're feeling and you sit with it and you kind of just go with the flow, the more this energy will balance itself out and it'll make sense. Okay, so the fifth insecurity is, are you worthy? Some people don't feel worthy of this person. And sometimes maybe vice versa. Maybe you question whether this person is worthy enough for you. But a lot of times with these connections, and a lot of people, when they think of divine connections, they think of what? Twin flames or soulmates, which is a very, very played out, redundant, like it's kind of getting played out how much it's being exploited, which I understand. Like, people are on different levels of their experience and their awareness of things and consciousness of things. So some people identify with things, um, they need to identify with the title or label, so I kind of get it. But as far as, are you worthy, I feel like it comes from that kind of putting a person above you and on a pedestal a little bit, or just simply looking at them. Maybe not like you're putting them above you, but you're giving them a lot of credit. Like, you almost forget that they're human, and for some it could be that there's this this self-doubt that if this person doesn't see me as the same way as I see them, this beautiful divine masculine, divine feminine, and the label that we've been taught what that represents. It's like, not everybody is a divine masculine and not everybody is a divine feminine, whether that be that's just not who they came here to be, or they're not in that essence, they have not awakened to that divinity. It's not just like a little title you just place on everybody because you have a connection with them. um, so a lot of people do that, kind of look at this person as like this godly, like above them, pedestal energy, rather than an equal to. And if it's an equal to, sometimes it can get very egotistical, like we're these important beings. And um, it's kind of like this savior complex energy too, that creates this monster, this block, when you should be validating yourself, your own worth based upon who you are within yourself, and being okay with seeing this person fully for who they are. You don't ever want to just look at all the bad in a person without acknowledging the good, and you never want to just acknowledge all of the good in a person without being open to their shadows. Same within yourself. It's you have to learn all aspects of who you are. So that's why that's um, a block in insecurity. So the sixth, which is one of the most important ones I feel, or the most relevant insecurities that block, is the quote unquote what people call the karmic partner. That person, that female, that dude, whoever, that person. And sometimes it may not even be romantic based. It could be friends, it could be family, it could be, situations such as a job, school, location. Something is kind of like a karmic energy, a karmic block or lesson or person. Can be that, like I said, a karmic lesson, a pattern, a contract. So, what you guys call karmic partners out there, that is some of the one of the biggest, if not top, insecurity. And what I mean by that is you might not think that this person is all that, like, oh, she ain't all that, she doesn't carry what I carry, or she's not as, she's not even all that cute, or whatever we tell ourselves, the ego when it comes out. um a lot of bashing this person, that type of thing. They're your insecurity because they cause you to sometimes doubt, such as, will they ever leave this person? Are they going to choose them over me? Do they think that this person is better? Why did they get with this person in the first place? Is this person trying to spite me? Is he or she stalking me? Is he or she doing something against me? You know, that causes insecurity. So when you give that type of power into another person, again, you're giving them the power to validate you whether you believe it or not. Um, so that's one of the top. And why I feel like it's one of the top insecurities, because it is a worry. Another person you feel like is kind of in the way. A person is kind of in your shoes where you want to be, technically, in some instance. Like, you're with my person, basically. So I'm looking at you as a major block. Some of you may not see this person as like a demon, like most people portray the quote unquote karmic partners to be, but some of you guys still see them as a threat, even if they're the most sweetest person, like harmless. But you just know that that person's not for your person, or you perceive, or you assume that wherever you stand with this, if the person that you're thinking about is your person at all, but it's still that insecurity of, this other person is in my position. And what if they never leave this person because they're caught up in it, or this person is not so bad, they're actually a good person, actually a sweet person, so maybe they want to be with that person, or they seem to be happy, all these things. It causes you to focus on the lack. It causes you to focus on what you don't have and what you may not be. It causes that comparison energy. It causes you to overthink. It causes you to spiral out of control and ask questions. Oh, where are they at with this person? What are they doing? How do they feel? Are they still dealing with this person or that person? It's like putting your focus on that gives your power away. And it's not to say that you shouldn't care whether or not this person is sitting in a situation or relationship. For me personally, um, you have to commit to yourself first, regardless of what the connection is. If they are in a commitment, um, you're an adult, you know what to do with it. But it's like, make sure that whatever decisions you're making is based off of what's of your highest good first and foremost before this other person. Um, I personally believe that you can't tamper with other people's karma. You kind of have to just allow it to be what it is and allow it to unfold. There's nothing you can do to speed it up, force it. You probably can help, energetically help send love, but it's not about you. If this person has a karmic debt with someone, or experience that they're meant to have with a person, you have to let that, with respect and unconditional love, that they have to experience whatever they need to experience. By you trying to force it and, like, cancel it out before it's time, or before God sees fit, is you coming from your ego, not coming from, and also coming from a place of conditional love, not unconditional love. So yeah, the last insecurity. It's like this is one of the biggest insecurities if you really want to know, in my opinion, is will we be together or when will we be together? Again, insecurity and doubt, wondering when something is going to happen, feeling a sense of lack. Like timing is that important. Like if it was the right time, it would have happened. It would have just came to pass by now. If it was what it was supposed to be. By wanting to force and control timing on things and obsessing when you think something should come together and how you think it should come together, it causes a lot of uneasiness, a lot of imbalance, um, not being present, not living in the moment. Therefore, you miss out on the things that you're meant to experience, the things that you could be enjoying, the people that you can be meeting, the lessons that you could be learning, whatever it is. That's what that does. And another thing is, again, like it's hung up on expectations, and that's what blocks the flow of energy because you're focusing on something that's way ahead of you. All you need to all you need to do is focus on the fact that you want a connection with this person, if it be this person. If not, of course, be open to the fact that it is someone that is really meant for you. If this person is not for you, that you will be with that person that's meant for you. And you don't need to know the timing, like what good would it do to live time. And we like to think that, yeah, if I knew the exact date and time that I was going to, be with this person again, or when I would meet the one, then my life would be happy and complete and I could just live and go on about my life. And actually, no, because there's things that are ahead that you're meant to experience and learn. And if you knew all of that, how would you learn? How would you go through that experience, experiencing it naturally, and whatever needed to be explored, witnessed, felt, heard, sensed, thought of, whatever was meant to lead you to that experience of wherever you're meant to be, and wherever you're meant to end up. Who's to say that the next chapter in your life is not leading you to that? Because I believe we're on a journey. Every step we take is essential to the quote unquote outcome that we're seeking, or something much better in place. But if we knew the whole story, it's like, what fun would that really be? You know what I mean? What would we really learn? What story would we have to tell if we just skipped ahead? Like, oh, I'm gonna meet them on July 25th. I'm good. Let's keep it going. I'm happy now. Like, nah. Like, even with That's So Raven, I'm gonna take it to That's So Raven. That's my show. But like, even with her, she got visions and she saw it one way, but it panned out kind of different in a way. It didn't happen in the exact way that she expected. So it's like spirit can give you glimpses and clipses of things, but it's not fully the entire experience, because if you knew everything, you wouldn't be able to fully step into that energy. That premonition wouldn't make so much sense. I've had premonitions that I seen something, but it just happened in a different way. Like, this is kind of like a mundane, like simple type of premonition, but I had like a drink, or I have a few. Some of them are not so light and fluffy. Some of them are actually like sad in a way, but I had a vision of me and my little sister walking to this restaurant that was right around the corner from my house at the time, and seeing it closed. Like, it was like closed down. They wouldn't let us in there. Like, it was like weird. Skip like a couple of months later, I go on my lunch break at work and I go to that same plaza, to that same restaurant. It's closed. It's got a sign on it that the building is vacant. So that was a premonition. It didn't happen exactly the way that I saw it, but it still nonetheless happened. Um, I had a vision of a family member being pregnant, and it was very like, it was funny. It was like a comical type of vision and dream. And in the waking life, it actually was that this family member was pregnant, but they ended up having a miscarriage. And I had dreams. I had a dream that it was multiple babies, and they ended up losing multiple babies. So that's not always a good side of seeing things. because you just don't know. And I've had other premonitions too that are like I'm seeing something, but it kind of happens a little bit different. So you have to enjoy the journey, because there's a lesson and experience within it for a reason, and it's not meant for you to know everything. So by obsessing over when or something is going to happen, or is it this person or not, and that's keeping you, it's causing doubt. Like, essentially you have to trust yourself. It's And I'm saying this because it's coming from what I'm channeling, but I'm saying it to myself too. It's like you can't trust things on the outside. You can't trust other people until you truly trust your own decisions and you validate yourself. You can't expect the world to validate you. It's like, how many times have, a person on here, if you guys are listening, that suffers from low self-esteem, and you doubt your looks, or you question your abilities or your intelligence, and people are like, no, you're so great, you're so this, you're so beautiful, you're so handsome, I love this about you, you have such a nice body, or whatever, or you're so funny, and you're like, be like, really? Like, even you can hear that from 10 people, 10 men. You can hear it from 1,000 people. you know if you don't believe it, there's nothing anybody can tell you to make you believe that. You have to be able to validate yourself. A reader can tell you and beat your head all day. You can get the same message from different readers, but if you don't believe it and you don't validate it for yourself, like I agree with it, then it doesn't make sense to keep asking if you don't believe or trust yourself and within yourself. Like, I'm asking something that I may already know the answer to, and they're telling me, but I'm still going, I don't believe it. Like, no one can convince you of something, basically. Sometimes you can be convinced, but that's, it's kind of misleading. You have to have your own core beliefs. And when you watch readings, you always have to go in using your discernment, because not everything is going to be for you. And when a message is for you, it may resonate different from the next person that's listening that resonates also. Like, spirit speaks to people in universal ways, in unique ways, through one vessel. And some people, like, are not meant to receive every message. That's why some readings don't resonate with people, and that's why. And I'm saying that as a viewer, as myself, when I used to watch readings, or when I do watch readings, whenever I'm led to, when I'm watching, I'm discerning what resonates with me and what doesn't. And I'm not going to the reader, oh, you're wrong. Oh, um, like, I can tell when a reader is for me. Like, sometimes there'll be moments where I don't resonate with certain readers because they're not the messenger for me. But that doesn't take away the fact that they're a messenger for others. So when I find a person that I know resonates with me, their messages are not always going to resonate. Not every message, at least. I can feel within myself, like, yeah, that's for me. And there's moments where I can go, oh, that's not for me. So a lot of people, you have to be tapped into your own intuition, and we all have it. Just because you might not know how to shuffle cards and read cards does not mean you're not intuitive and you don't have an inner compass to feel out and to know when something is meant for you and not meant for you. Um, yeah, a lot of people are not really in touch with themselves spiritually, so it's like, they're looking for, like, Miss Cleo. It's like a taboo. It's like a cliche perception of tarot readings and readings. We're meant to predict your future, or um, we're meant to be 100% accurate all the time, or you're one person tapping into a collective energy that is meant for thousands of people, but you assume it's only about you. And if a reader says something that you don't agree with or does not resonate with you, you automatically assume that this person is wrong. It's just not for you. And I say this all the time, and if, like, you guys are new to my channel, maybe you never heard me say this, but it really does bother me when people comment on other readers' stuff. I blocked y'all from commenting because some of you guys are, like, very disrespectful, and I'm not having it. But when I see other people commenting on other readers' stuff, like, oh, that was stupid, oh, that was wrong, oh, why did you say that, and blah, blah. Like, because that's what he or she picked up. Why are you tripping? It's not for you. Like, and, like, general, like, it doesn't have your name on it, like, oh, this is for Maria or whatever. And you know what I mean? Like, it's for multiple people, so you have to take into consideration. of that. But what I'm saying is you have to validate your own self. No one can really tell you something unless you agree to it, and unless within your heart of hearts in yourself you've already validated that message within you to be true. So yeah, I hope that that made sense and if that resonated. This wasn't more. It was more so like a channeling, more so than it was like a reading to me. But yeah, I was guided to do it like that. Like I was just guided. I don't know. It just came to me. It really came to me. Yeah. So if you want a divine connection with anybody, meaning divine connection, when I say that, like even just as I'm growing, divine connections is not exclusive to romance, you know. Everything is divine in essence. So a connection that is of the most high God, it could be a friendship of a lifetime. Um, you know, they don't have to be blood related. It could be a family, you know, your divine family. You're not blood related, but you're soul related, and you know, divine romantic connection. All those account, all of them are relevant. So in order to have those beautiful connections, you have to be connected within the self, because you'll attract fragments and energies. So yeah, I got cut off. I can't stand this. YouTube, I don't know why y'all don't like me, but you guys need to quit it. I don't like it. I'm not feeling it. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So that's that's all I'm picking up. Happy 420 if it's still 420 wherever you guys are. It's still 420 over here. Um, yeah, I had a little, you know, something, something. It helped me meditate. It helped me get centered. I only do that. I don't do it as escapism and like a party type of thing. I do it to meditate, and I don't do it often either. It's when I'm called to. Like I'll keep a little something, something. But someone gifted me a little bit, so I'm like, okay, well, I'll utilize this from, you know, this full moon meditating energy, and I just started channeling so much stuff, and I got so much clarity. Thank God for that. Like everything happens in divine order and timing, and I'm so grateful um, right now, because I've been going through it lately. Like I've been so like triggered mentally since this full moon. Like I've been just like foggy, and it took a certain, like me hitting a certain place to get here and be like, okay, let me really get centered, because I can't do this. I have to navigate through this dark period right now until I get to the end of the tunnel, the light, the clarity that I'm seeking. I have to just keep going. I have to keep walking through the storm, because I know eventually it's gonna make sense. Like you got to go through the tower moment. I had a tower moment, um, really triggered, and it was like unexpected trigger, like unexpected effects and anger, and like I don't know, it was just came over me, and I had to go through that smoke until it dissipated, and I could sit with this and be like, okay, now I understand why I had to have that tower moment. And as I was doing that, my body was releasing, and I was just praying through it, because it hurt to release all of that. You have to understand, these are things that needed to come out anyway, but it hurt. It was like a painful release, but I was still thanking God through it, because I know that it's a good thing, if that makes sense. But yeah, take the time to really, during this, I'm recording this during a full moon in Libra still, but if you watch this anytime after that, um it's still relevant to you if it's meant to resonate with you. I would suggest like that you guys look at where Libra, because Libra energy represents partnerships. The house that it rules, the house that it rules is the seventh house, which is a partnerships, marriage, um, partnerships of any kind, like business partnerships, whatever. Um, but yeah, it does rule the house of partnerships. So knowing where Libra is in your chart will tell you how Libra is affecting you. Maybe what's out of balance or what needs to become into balance. So anything that's in balance around this time, like check your charts. You might have Libra in a certain planet as well. Like look into that and what that planet means, or what it means to have Libra in that planet, and see how this full moon is affecting you. Um, yeah, I don't have Libra in any of my planets, but I do for a fact have it in one of my houses. So that's what's affecting me. That's what's causing my imbalance. It's based off of where it's at in my chart. So I would suggest that you guys look into it. If you guys are just Libras, Libra suns, moons, or risings, yeah, maybe even more so this is affecting you a little harsher than the rest of the, other sun signs or whatever. Venus, because Venus is the planet of love. So if you have a Libra in your or Venus Libra, um, there might be some energies with your love life that you're being made to focus upon and pay attention to. And Libra is also the ruling planet of Venus as well as Taurus. So, so because Venus is your ruling planet anyway, planet of love, your love life, or just your friendships, your partnerships, family memberships, your relationship with yourself, God, whatever, the universe, your angels, whatever you resonate with, is going to be out of focus in some way of some sort. So that's why it's important to check your chart. And more accurately, you have to have your time of birth to have the most accurate natal chart, and to know your moon sign and sun sign. I believe you have to have for sure your I'm sorry, your rising sign. For sure, I believe you have to have your time of birth. So yeah, and Libra is the Empress card. I believe the Libra and Taurus is the Empress card, and the Justice card is also Libra in the tarot. So this is about balance. It's about balancing the karmic energies, what it is that you need to address and heal and release. What is it that you would like to create and nurture? Nurturing yourself, loving yourself, seeing your beauty in yourself, seeing the beauty in all situations and things and beings, even in the dark periods. You can take these energies however you want. You maybe pull out your Empress card and your Justice card if you guys have a tarot deck, and just reflect and sit with it. If you guys work with deities, if you guys work with um, the ancient Kemet science and deities, maybe working with Mayat um, as well, meditating, reflecting with your cards, or just meditating on what is causing imbalance in your life and what you feel needs balance, and specifically with your partnerships. Like, this is the perfect time to do that. It's okay to state your insecurities, write out your insecurities, write out your biggest fears when it comes to the relationships with those around you, within your divine, connections with people, your love life, your, most importantly, the relationship within yourself. Like, what is your biggest insecurities that you have, and really sit with them and figure out why they're there. So when you face and confront those fears and you get down to the root of it, then can things be cleared. You have to pull the weeds up out of the ground. You got to do it. You can't just throw dirt over it and keep it moving, because the weeds are going to continue to grow, and you got to weed them out. So no more ranting. I'm about to get my ass off of here. All right, much love always, you guys. I appreciate y'all. I hope that this was helpful. I really, really do, because I was guided to do it, but that's me doubting myself. So let me stop. So I was guided to do it, so I know it's got to be meant for at least one person. Shit, one person. Much love, you guys. Take care. I appreciate all of you. Have a good weekend. Happy 420.